So I just want to go over lesson one in case you're absent or kind of just need a repeat. So lesson one was Introduction to Rhetoric and the Rhetorical Situation. This was handout 1.1 in Google Classroom, and I was teaching you about the first three parts of the rhetorical situation, which is exigence, purpose, and audience. And we talked about what it means to persuade. We use persuasion in everyday lives when we're trying to convince other people. These are in your notes, but just a reminder that exigence is like the spark. It's the event that caused the reason to communicate. Purpose is to inform, to entertain, to persuade. Any of those are purposes. And then audience is never everyone. You always want to be really, really clear about who the audience is. So this was an exemplar that we did in class. And I did it based on the Uncle Sam poster because it's a really strong example that follows through really nicely. So the exigence, and this is a spark, was World War I in 1917, and we know the military needed to add more people. When we went to the purpose, it was obviously to persuade the reader to join the military during this time, and it was supposed to inspire a sense of personal responsibility and patriotism. Lastly, the audience was not just anyone, right? They needed people who could actually join the war. So these were young American men who were military age, 18 to 30, who were eligible and they were physically able to enlist. So this is like, we started off with simple, right? And the most important thing is to be able to answer correctly. And so we did this. But another thing is, how do we add detail, right? And AP level analysis, when you're trying to get a really good score, it's not enough just to have a correct answer. You have to have nuance. You have to have support. You have to show that you can think critically, right? So this is a really good approach to adding detail. It's called the so what and the how do you know approach. So what? Why should people care, right? You have to ask yourself, why is this important? Because everything is made for a reason. The author is specifically trying to get a message across. So you answer, why is this important? And even if you start simple, this is important because. What are the implications or consequences? This is really looking at potential consequences. For example, like if this happens, this might be ruined or this might be that consequence. This really goes into that significance, and you're really exploring and going into detail. And then the how do you know? We really need textual evidence. Always super important is to have that textual evidence, looking for specific words, phrases, ideas, anything that brings you in and gives you that proof. Okay? So I showed a stronger version for the Uncle Sam poster. And as you can see, I added the so what and the how do you know. So for the so what, this wasn't a regular recruitment poster. This was actually the very first time we saw Uncle Sam in a recruitment poster. It became legendary. It became iconic. People started to see him everywhere after this. It was the First World War. And you don't understand, this is the first time multiple countries went to war, right? It was huge. It was a big deal. So there was a massive demand for people to go overseas, and they had to make people want to go overseas. And so they used this poster to tell people, like, hey, like, we want you personally, right? Like, this is really, really important. How do I know that? Well, first, I know it doesn't say World War One, but I did the research, so I know. And the AP test will give you the background. So if you had this on the AP test, it would tell you. But really, I look at the text where it says, like, I want you for the US Army. So I know it's going to be about a war, right? I know he's talking to the reader because it has the you and it's in a different color. And he's also pointing, right? Like there's a point going on. It makes it immediate. It makes it feel personal. It's like he's talking to me, right? Like he's talking to me very specifically. Um, so this really gave the idea that there was a critical need for the war. Ignore that. Then we go to the purpose. Again, the so what and the how do you know. So what? So what if you need people? Well, the thing is like This was meant to bring in that personal responsibility, that duty, that patriotism, right? Like this was a time where you're like, do you love your country? Yes or no? It's like, yeah, I love my country. Think, the Avengers, think Captain America, right? Like Captain America would look at this and he would be like, yes, well, when he was Steve Rogers, if you watch the movie, you can see he actually lies to get into the war, right? Because it's so important to him. And so this was really trying to make people feel like it's your job. It's a personal obligation, right? It was a compelling call and it really worked during that time. How do I know that? I'm going to look at visually. First, obviously, the I want you for the US Army is the fact that the U is so special. And then it's Uncle Sam's face. Like he looks so determined, he looks so focused, he's pointing at you, the reader. It feels very much like he's breaking the fourth wall and he's talking to you personally. Lastly, the audience. Again, the audience can be simple, but like, so what? I need to make assumptions. Now, I was not here when this is made, and you were not here. So a lot of times you do have to make assumptions, and you have to make it clear. This implies, right? This assumes. So like this poster, of course, patriotism, civic duty, a desire for adventure. Maybe people wanted to do something better with their lives, and this felt like the right thing to do, right? So this really went into the idea of masculinity, that a man was a man when he went into the war. The idea of becoming a war hero, right? Like coming back and being able to get a medal. And oops, basically, how do I know this? Again, it's just a lot of those details, the red, white, and blue, and all that good stuff. So what you do is you go into that assignment, and I want you to add these so what and the how do you know to each question. This is what helps you to get your rhetorical analysis much stronger. If you need any help, please send me an email.